Spiritual bypassing is one of the biggest pitfalls on your spiritual path. One moment you're meditating and you try so hard to be all love and light, and 1 second later you're shouting at the kids, like I did that. And you think you're a complete failure, but that's not true at all. Spiritual bypassing means you are using your spirituality to escape from your emotional issues and challenges instead of working on them. And we all do it. And anyone who says they're not doing it is doing it that very moment. You see it with almost all spiritual people, and you have to address it because spiritual bypassing is a very subtle form of perfectionism that gives you exactly the opposite of what your spiritual practice should be, because it means rejecting parts of yourself instead of learning to accept them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what Taoists do to heal that, because Taoism in itself is a very effective way to stop bypassing your issues. It's very simple. But first, let's take a look at how to know if you're spiritual bypassing your issues. Let's go. Hi, I'm Alex, the Dutch Taoist. So, what are the signs of spiritual bypassing? Number one, an overdose of love and light. It's nice to feel more love, compassion and joy when you meditate, but if you just want to be love and light all day long, you cut yourself off from the negative feelings that you also have inside. We all have them, and the more you push them away, the worse it's going to get. Because denial and suppression creates a lot of tension in your body. You have to embrace your entire spectrum of emotions, otherwise you lose contact with yourself. So it's great that you want to be more loving and compassionate, but it should come by itself when you do it right. The good news is that love and compassion is who you are. The spiritual work you do is all about cleaning everything that clouds the sunlight. So number two is the perfectionist view of being spiritual. You think spirituality only deals with the soul or something divine and not with being human. But that's wrong, because if you believe in God, then there's no non-God in the whole universe. Your ego is a reflection of the divine as well, so don't repress it. Yeah, but Alex, my spiritual teacher told me that I have too much ego. And that's where you start thinking that all the normal thoughts and desires you have are bad or not spiritual. Sorry to break this to you, but it's bullshit. Your ego is a part of who you are, and real spirituality is accepting what is, right? So that means accepting that you are human. Believe me, I've had many spiritual awakenings and I still have my ego. It's not going anywhere. I need some ego to function in society. But it's just that I can truly accept who I am, dark and light. I don't fight it. And that process gives me space and bliss and so much relaxation that the light just becomes more and more. And accepting your flaws will also give you compassion for other people. Do not suppress healthy human desires and fears. Number three, you think that spirituality is something separate from your normal life. You go to a meditation retreat and you come back and you're all love and light, and it's difficult to maintain that peace when you get back into your car, right? And end up in a traffic jam, or when you come home and the kids are screaming, or you have to pay your bills. So do not try to cling to the feeling of Zen. The real spirituality means it comes and it goes. When you cling to positive feelings, you're suppressing all the other stuff, and it's making things worse. Real spiritual growth is only possible when you learn to accept that the world and all its stress is a part of your spiritual path. It's the part where you have to do the work. That's why they say start where you are. That means here and now. Don't stress out if you have stress, because maybe that's where you are right now. Accept the stress, accept the anger. That will give you so much space. And I'm going to give you some tools to do that at the end of this video. Number four, ignoring your body. If you push your human desires and negative emotions away, what part of your body do you shut off? Well, it's usually the lower part of your body. Your sexual desire, for instance, and your survival instinct is all in the lower chakras. If you only want to feel love and light, you will also lose contact with that part of your body and consciousness. And that means you lose your power. I see it with so many spiritual people. In the end, you can't even make decisions and you can't set boundaries in your relationships. That's why you see women becoming a spiritual doormat, because you feel so insecure and ungrounded. Making contact again with your legs and pelvic area can be a huge breakthrough, because you will feel whole again. Number 5, you see spirituality as the solution to all your problems. Most people think that enlightenment is like a diploma. It's difficult to get, but once you have it, all your problems will be solved. And after that, you just go through life laughing and smiling all day. And that's why spiritual people sometimes look down on therapy as a solution to their problems, because why would you if you can just meditate it away? And therapy would mean involving yourself with ego, and we don't want that. We want to get away from that, because if you can meditate blissfully all day, you don't need that, right? But that's not true. If you are spiritually awake or enlightened, you still have everyday human issues and problems, just like everyone else. If you're liberated, you just deal with them in a slightly different way. It's easy to, let go of stuff. That's it. I can get angry, but it never takes more than a few minutes. I totally accept my human emotions, even when sometimes I'm angry, and that I'm ashamed that I'm angry, or angry that I'm angry. But then I just try to accept not just the anger, but also the shame and the anger about the anger. And that is true acceptance. Number 6, you idolize your own teacher or path. It's very natural to be excited when you find a new form of meditation or a great teacher, and you want to tell everyone, right? But when you start seeing your teacher as some kind of messiah, that usually means you don't want to see his or her human side. And that can be pretty dangerous if that teacher believes it himself too, right? And that's why you see abuse, because seeing a certain path or teacher as the solution to all your problems actually means that you are giving up your own power to find out what's right in any moment. A good teacher or method makes you independent, because you already have everything inside to awaken. Be your own light. Number 7, seeing other people as not spiritual. Now, if you don't face your own issues, what happens is you start projecting your issues onto other people. And then you start to see other people as not spiritual or even bad. You start looking down on other people, which is not very spiritual, of course, or paths like, oh, she's just a Zen Buddhist. That's a lower form of spirituality. And that's bad enough. But when you do that, you also look down on yourself, because it means you reject those qualities in yourself. But if you try to embrace your own flaws, you can start to love yourself. And then you automatically get more compassion for other people, whether they are spiritual or not. So those were the signs of spiritual bypassing. What about the solutions? Now, Taoism is the best path to deal with this. All the other paths are just lower forms of spirituality, right? No. But it is a very good path to deal with these issues, and that's why I usually tell people to combine your spiritual practice, your meditation, with some of these Taoist techniques or meditations. First of all, you have to accept that you are spiritual bypassing, because we're all doing it. And why? Because this is how your ego deals with your spiritual side. It can't help itself. Your ego likes to think in terms of achievements, solutions, and we are better than them. And your ego always tries to run away from pain and vulnerability. So as long as you have an ego, you will always do a little bit of spiritual bypassing. Accepting that is also a form of self-acceptance. Number 2, you want to accept yourself as you are with all your quirks and flaws, and have compassion for yourself. But how do you do that? Well, that's where you can do the meditations like Inner Smile or the healing sounds, where you make contact with your anger and fear and sorrow and start healing that in a very simple way. It's a great way to both accept who you are and heal yourself. So I have some links below. Number 3, make contact with your body. And the easiest way to do that is some self-massage. That will get you back in your body and relax you so the energy can start flowing again. And number 4 is the most important one for many spiritual people, and that is to ground yourself. Most spiritual people live in their heads too much and they just can't relax. First thing to do to solve that is to ground yourself, and I see my students have huge breakthroughs by just doing these simple grounding techniques for like half an hour. It's such a beautiful thing to see. And if you want to try that, you can do a free grounding exercise to get you started with the link below. I recommend this highly. And finally, try to see spirituality as something that makes you more human. And you think Jesus didn't accept his own humanity, or Buddha? No, they accepted it completely. And it's ironic, but it's the only way to feel your divine side, is to accept yourself completely. And it's so beautiful because only then will you see that you have everything inside you to awaken and be whole or even holy.